there. How you doing? My name's Darcy Jeavons, and you are tuned into the Female Mixing Engineers Music Podcast, where we bring you 4 great songs created by 4 very talented and skilled ladies in 4 unique home studio settings. And thank you so very much for being here listening. You know I love you, and this podcast wouldn't exist without you. I am so happy to be back. Happy New Year, and may it be a great one for you. It has been wonderful. This is the season 2 premiere show. So welcome. It is fantastic to listen to all the great music that's being created by women out there. I am just in awe of the tracks that I get to listen to. It's just such an inspiration. Thank you, ladies, for doing what you do and taking on the world of audio in your home studios and setting an example for other girls and ladies to do the same thing and take a jump into the audio realm. It is fantastic to hear your stuff. It's amazing. The stuff that I hear out there, the music that I hear, the talent that I hear. I learned so much from listening to all of you. So thank you so very much for sending in your music. We're going to have a lot of great music this season. I'm so excited. Yes, I am. Okay, so in case you have some music that you would like to have aired on the podcast, hey, shoot it on over a link or attach it to the email at info@femalemixingengineers.com. Just send it there. We'll take a listen and hopefully get it on the show, and you can share what you did to make it sound as awesome as it does. I just cannot wait. This is so much fun for me. I feel so blessed to be able to do this. And let's see, this pertains to women who produce or edit or mix or master your own music or clients' music. So I like to hear it all, and we will give it a listen and get it on the show if we can, okay? If you have any questions about mixing or mastering or production, please feel free to shoot an email out, and we'll get those questions answered. Also, do not forget that we are on, let me see here. I want to make sure I get this list correct. We have so much stuff that we're on. Okay, so don't forget to join our Facebook Female Mixing Engineers page. It would be great to see you there. And also Instagram, Female Mixing Engineers on Instagram and on Twitter, and also too Pinterest. Okay, there are a lot of links on our Pinterest page that are tutorials and advice that are vetted and handpicked just to help you along your journey and learn more about mixing. So please go there and subscribe, and you'll never be left out. Also, this podcast, I don't know what you're listening to it on, but it is available on Spotify and iTunes and Stitcher and Podbean and Radio Public, iHeartRadio, and so on, wherever you consume your podcasts, okay? As I said, thank you for listening. All right. Let's see. Oh, and of course, don't forget to go to femalemixingengineers.com and join the mailing list. And when you go to femalemixingengineers.com, as I've said before, there is this little button on the side. And please press that button and say hi, leave a message, ask a question. You don't even need your phone to be able to do that. Just start talking. And if you've got a mic on your laptop, computer, whatever on your phone, it's going to pick that up. So please leave a message. Give a shout out to me, to any of the ladies that you've heard on the show. We're trying to revamp the website. I have so many ideas, and I know what I want to include, so hopefully this year that will get done. Let's see. So I just wanted to start off by saying, it's, as I said, great to return. I wanted to also update what I spoke about on the last podcast, which is the loudness Penalty Analyzer. It's a free website, or it's a free online tool, actually. You go to loudnesspenalty.com. You heard me talk about it last show. It analyzes your track to see if, when you've posted onto YouTube, Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, and Apple, if they're going to lower the volume of your track. This is an extremely useful tool, because if they're already going to lower the volume on any of those platforms, why don't you just lower it yourself and maintain the dynamics you want to maintain? That's just an idea. Maybe you're okay with them turning it down, whatever you want to do. But what's happened with the site since I last spoke to you is, okay, so you drag in your track. It's got to be an MP3 or a WAV. You drag it in, and it will analyze how the volume is going to be reduced on any of these sites. But now you can actually click on a drop-down menu, and it will play your track the way it will sound on any of those sites. So it'll tell you, oh, maybe it's going to turn it down 4.1 dBs on Spotify. You can click on the menu there and click on Spotify and listen to how it's going to sound on Spotify. Then you can make a decision. You know, it's great if you have that power in your hands and you don't leave it to them. So I am grateful for this site and Ian Shepherd and anybody else I know who was involved in the production of this tool. It's absolutely fantastic. So before you upload your tracks, if you want to go and drop it into that Loudness Penalty Analyzer, the link is in the show notes on how you can, on where it's at, so you can go and do that. It's a phenomenal tool. Okay. I wanted also to talk today a little bit about transient shapers, transient designers. These are processors that adjust the dynamics of a sound. Now, rather than change the dynamics like a compressor does, a transient shaper operates only on the initial onset of the sound, which is the transient, okay? So in case you were a little unsure of what that meant, the initial hit of the drum or the plink of the piano or the pluck of a guitar or bass, this is what a transient shaper is going to work with. And it's usually it's a high amplitude, short duration sound, and it's usually not tonal. Okay, so anyway, a transient shaper can amplify or attenuate the onset of a sound with accuracy, a good transient shaper. And transient shapers seriously need to be in your arsenal of plugins. There are a lot of reasons why, okay? What you're going to be most concerned with in your transient shaper is the attack and the sustain. All right. Now, mixing with transient shapers is really cool. I think of it also as you can use a transient shaper to create a darker and more rounded sound, okay, by decreasing the attack of the transient. Now, this approach works for taming harsh spikes and sounds that can cause clipping. So think of that. If you're using a transient shaper, it's going to help to reduce those high spikes in your mix, okay, and lessen the possibility of clipping. So that is one way to look at it. But also transient shapers are used to emphasize that pluck. I mean, sometimes you want the pick of that acoustic guitar to come through, or the snap or of that snare drum. You want it more present, so you can adjust your attack and your sustain according to what you want that initial hit to sound like. And these are very cool tools to use, and there's plenty of them. There are plenty of transient shapers. It also can deverb sounds by decreasing the sustain, and it can control or remove unwanted reverb tails or delay tails. This is very good. It also can soften the onset of a bass, or it can decrease the sustain. Think of this. Okay, say your mix is, the kick drum is you want to decrease the sustain of that kick drum so that it doesn't muddy up your low end of your mix, all right? You can use a transient shaper for that. These transient shapers are extremely, extremely cool tools to have, all right? If you haven't used one, you have many to choose from. Some of them are... let's see, what do we have? We have the Waves Trans-X, the Waves Smack Attack, the Bose Digital Transgressor, the Eventide, Fission, I think it's pronounced. There's the Plug-in Alliance SPL Transient Designer Plus, and there's the Native Instruments Transient Master. Now, those are just a few, and there's free ones out there. So I suggest it's a great tool to mess around with, get to understand what it's capable of doing. It can very much tighten up your mix in a lot of ways. I am very pro transient shapers. So that being said, I want to start you off with a link in the show notes where I've included a link to a free plugin called The Canary. All right, now, there's a great demo video for this plugin as well, and the company that designed it is Black Rooster Audio. Now, Black Rooster Audio has some amazing plugins, and although the description of this Canary, which is free, it says it makes your drums sing. It also can be used on other percussive elements, but what's great about this particular one is it's not only has the attack and sustain, it also has a filter, and it also gives you the ability to tune the drum. Say you want to tune your snare or whatever, it's got a tuner on it as well. So it's a very, very fun and free tool to play with. And the reason why I'm bringing it up and I'm including a link is that this wonderful company, Black Rooster Audio, Andre Kirchner from Black Rooster Audio reached out to me and said that he would like to support our female mixing engineers community. So he's offering a free license to any one plugin from Black Rooster Audio. This is so cool. And Andre, thank you. You are awesome for supporting us. So you can actually go into the show notes, or you can and find the email. You can send a shout out to him. He will give you a license for any of the plugins, any one plugin, not the bundles, but any one plugin from Black Rooster Audio. Like I said, there's also a couple, 3 free plugins on there as well, but it was an easy download. I have been messing with Canary, and for my free plugin, I decided to get Magnetite, which is an amazing, it's a harmonic processor is what it is, and as a tape emulator, it's really cool. I cannot wait to play with it more. I've been messing with it a little bit. It's very awesome. I've included some links to demos of the products in the show notes. So please go to Black Rooster Audio. I believe the email you want to contact him at, which is also in the show notes, is info@blackroosteraudio.com. You'll have to check in the show notes, but I am almost positive that's what it is. And reach out to Andre. Say you're from Female Mixing Engineers and you're asking for a license to one of those products on his website. So like I said, other than the bundles, it's for one free plugin. And thank you again, Andre. This is great to support our community. And as I said, I'm a big fan of the Canary, and that one's free. But this Magnetite, I'm so looking forward to using that, because a tape emulator is something that I really enjoy. I like getting that old school tape sound on that tape sort of saturation and distortion and harmonics on a whole track. So Anyway, those are some things that I just wanted to include before we listen to the 4 great songs we've got today. And let's see, I do believe actually that might be about it. I'm not going to be talking too much today. So what we're going to do now is move on to our wonderful, wonderful ladies and their songs. And here we go with lady number 1. Yes, doesn't that sound beautiful? I am so happy to introduce Julie Kathryn of I Am Snow Angel, a.k.a. I Am Snow Angel. She is from New York City, and this song is entitled Waste. It's an ambient pop song, and it was written and performed by the artist Yify Zhang. And Julie actually recorded, mixed, edited, and produced the song for Yify. So this was in her home studio in New York City. All right, Julie Kathryn, I Am Snow Angel. I love that. That's so cool. I Am Snow Angel. She's a seasoned producer and mix engineer, as well as a fantastic singer-songwriter herself. She's produced many artists, and she actually has her a new album of her own dropping this month. It's titled Mothership, and 2 of the singles off her new album, which one single is Honeybee and the other is You Are Mine, are available now. I've linked her webpage in the show notes, so you can go take a listen. She is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Julie is also, the co-founder of Female Frequency, a musical collective dedicated to empowering women and girls in the music industry. Yes, yes, and a million times yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Julie. She's been featured in the Huffington Post, Indie Shuffle, Magnetic Mag, and the list goes on. She's also a sound designer for Ableton and Splice.com. Okay, she is awesome and very talented and very skilled. So getting back to this song, Waste, that she produced and mixed for Yify. All right, here's a few of the things she said about it. She used Ableton Live and Logic Pro, doing the final mix in Logic. Yify played all the piano parts, and Julie added the rest of the instrumentation. They chose grand piano MIDI rack in Ableton, and Julie added more keys, guitar, and a variety of MIDI instruments. Julie also programmed the drums and added some ambient vocals. What she did is she heavily affected some of Yify's backing vocals by reversing them and drenching them in reverb to get that dreamy sound. She used an Audio Technica AT4047 condenser mic for the vocals and went direct with the guitars and keyboards. Everything else was samples or MIDI. She also used an Apogee Ensemble audio interface for all the audio. And she used a Novation Ultra Nova keyboard for hard and soft synths. She also used her Ableton Push and her Fender Telecaster. And Yify played piano parts on Julie's Yamaha keyboard. Some of the favorite plugins she used are a number of Waves plugins, especially the CLA compressors. She also used a lot of the native Ableton sounds and the orchestral pack from Ableton, which is one of her faves. The arrangement took shape once the recording began. Julie said Yify brought some very interesting, this is cool, very interesting reference tracks. I don't know if you ever get, I always ask when I'm mixing for somebody, give me some reference tracks. What do you have in mind? And I guess Yify brought some very interesting reference tracks, such as I Get Overwhelmed by Dark Rooms, and Here With Me by Susie, I think it's Susie Sa and Robert Koch. The goal was to achieve a sound that was ambient, emotional, and dynamic. And also, too, the mastering was outsourced to Jeff Lipton at Peerless Mastering. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this just phenomenal sound of Julie Kathryn of I Am Snow Angel and her production of Yify Zhang's song waste.
These days go wasting away. Nothing to reach or stay for. Spend my breath praying for something I forgot. 'Cause it ain't coming. These days been sleeping too much. Colors and voices all look and sound the same. It ain't coming. It ain't coming.
Okay, so I got the goosebumps with that one. That was just, I love it. It's creamy, crunchy, and the creation of a space with depth and width. I love it. I love it. It just made me feel. It made me feel. I love the air and the vocals and the vinyl lo-fi sort of sound at times, and I'm a big fan of the heavy reverb on the snare. I like how it's powerful and emotional. And in this case, I think they had quite a bit on the kick too. So that was pretty cool. At 1:50, when it opens up and there's a variety of new sounds to hear with each listen, I went back quite a few times and I'm like, ooh, that's something fun. That's something different. That's what I love about a mix sometimes is every time you listen to it, you go back and you're like, oh, wait, what was that tasty little sound I just heard? So anyway, this was just a very, very beautiful track to listen to. And I want to thank you, Julie, Kathryn, for allowing it to be on the show. And you too, Yify, you rock. And thank you so very much. And as I said, I've included both of their website links in the show notes. So go and give them some love. Go and give them a listen. And also stay tuned for I Am Snow Angel's new album coming out, Mothership, this month, okay? All right, thanks so much, both of you ladies. And let's move on now to our lady number 2. Isn't that such a cool sound? I love that. Love that guitar. Let's introduce you here to Emily Bowie. And she is from Jackson, Tennessee. She recorded, mixed, and mastered this song entitled Northern Lady by the artist Dylan Evans from his album Decorate the Fish. It's a cool folk Americana song. She recorded, mixed, and mastered this at Fair Air Music, which is a full-time record label and music publishing company that she founded in 2014. It's located on the middle of Music Highway between Memphis and Nashville. And she started Fair Air Music to promote and record local independent singer-songwriters in that Jackson area. Fair Air came about with her belief that instrumentation and vocals need their own fair space, hence the name, by achieving a great balance. She also studied entertainment and music industry at the University of Memphis. Emily is such a sweet girl. We've been talking through Facebook, and I just love the sound of this album, Decorate the Fish. She did a phenomenal job, and this is one of my favorite songs. So for this song, she used Pro Tools on a MacBook Pro. The interface was a combination of PreSonus 1602 and Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40. The mics she used were a Shure SM57 on a custom-built tube amp for the guitars, a Rode NT1A mic for vocals, and a Shure Beta 52A for the kick, and the Shure 57 for drums, with a pair of what she says in quotes, some very cheap small condenser mics, okay? You don't need expensive gear to get a good sound if you know how to use your gear, right? The bass was recorded through an Ampeg amp with the 57 mic, no direct in for that bass. 2 electric guitar parts, again, were only with the SM57 and different effects on both of those. Want to give a shout out to Chris Dickerson on drums, Rum Brown on bass, Brandon Clifton on the background vocals, and of course Dylan Evans himself on the lead vocal and guitar. So Emily is constantly working to grow her business and her services at Fair Air Music, as well as co-writing songs with people in many different states and overseas. So Emily, great job on this song. I know you all are going to enjoy it. And here we go with Dylan Evans' song from his album Decorate the Fish called Northern Lady.
Muddy water, round high rolling pine, through thorny thickets, you were on my mind, as I brought you flowers from the sweetest vine, and all those hard-fought footsteps, just a waste of time. Oh, northern lady, all dressed up for flight, looking out across a summer star-filled night. And oh God, I wish you'd put up a better fight. Ain't saying I was wrong, can't say I was right. to hear. Sometimes it must be heard. And I paid attention as this thing occurred. Goodbye, goodbye. It's so goddamn absurd.
Well, that was great. It had such an organic sound. Love the drums driving so seamlessly there. The depth of the background vocals, they were so smooth in the background. It's a great song for driving down the highway, man. It made me feel good. And I love the gentle, dryish delay that was on the lead vocal. That was really awesome too. So anyway, this song, all the links to it and the links to Emily's Fair Air music are all in the show notes, and links to listen to this on Spotify and buy it on iTunes and give it a little love. Go there and say hi to Emily and support her, because she is doing a great job in her studio. And thank you, Emily. Okay, so now it's time to move on to song and lady number 3. Oh, so it's like I don't want to give away too much about this song, but it is fantastic, okay? This song was produced by the awesome Jojo Worthington. She's a Canadian producer. And the artist is a group called The Lifers, which is led by Liv and Anita Cazzola. The name of the song is Wake. It's a folk rock collective from their album Honey Sweet, okay? And I love this song. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. It is just such a treat for your ears. Okay. So Jojo, who we're going to talk about here, Jojo Worthington, she co-mixed and co-produced with David, Worthen, I do believe. They are from Canada. She's a Canadian producer. Jojo is not only a talented producer, but she's a fabulous singer-songwriter, and her ukulele skills are super creative. She's worked with many talented artists, including Frightened Rabbit, Novo, Amor, the Great Lake Swimmers, and so on and so on. Just tons of people. And she's so unique and such a breath of fresh air. She's amazing. All right. So this recent co-production of The Lifers' Honey Sweet album, it earned nominations at the 2018 Canadian Folk Music Awards. If you go to Jojo's website, which I've linked in the show notes, of course, there is a long list of awards and accolades for this lady. She's very, very cool. And also her YouTube channel is very inspiring and great to listen to. It's just new and fresh and just something fun. So going on about the song Wake that she produced for The Lifers, okay, which I said are led by Liv and Anita Cazzola. The band is led by them. So Jojo, when she was arranging the samples and vocal parts, she used Logic Pro. She likes Logic for arrangement and composition. Once they were happy with all the parts, she bounced out the tracks and sent them over to her co-producer, David, who transferred them into Pro Tools, and then they started mixing together. So Jojo and the Lifers recorded and worked at Wildlife Sanctuary Studio. And if this sounds familiar, that's because in our last podcast, I featured Lisa Conway, who owns the Wildlife Sanctuary home studio. It's a dedicated out studio at their home. So this is where Jojo and the Lifers were. And Jojo said that while David worked in one room with the Lifers, front girl Liv and Jojo went into another room where she recorded her voice and some ukulele into Logic. And Jojo did the initial engineering and arranged the track and then co-produced it and co-mixed it with David. Okay, the foundation of this track was recorded with a Shure SM58. Jojo didn't want to have the vocal sound too pretty. So some of the vocals were actually sung on iPhones, but then on the other end of the spectrum, some of them were recorded with the Neumann U887. So yeah. And Jojo played synth and a bunch of other auxiliary stuff, as she calls it. For her home studio environment, it's her laptop and her headphones. And for this track, she used Critter and Guitari's Critter and Guitari's Organelle synth. Okay, so this is a really super cool synth. I had to go and take a look at it. I put a link in the show notes. It's such a fun toy. If you're into really creative sort of synth sounds and toys, you have to go take a look at this. She also used an Animoog synth on her iPad and a sampler on her iPad. She also used a bunch of guitar pedals as instruments. They used Strymon's Big Sky Reverb, Eventide's Pitch Factor, and Line 6's DL4. They ran the vocals through a Fender amp. And David also used the Waves Brow Motion plugin, which Jojo is a big fan of. Okay, and I included a link to that Waves Brow Motion plugin and also a YouTube video with a demo of it. This is a very cool plugin as well, this Brower Motion plugin. I have got to get it. It's just very cool. It adds a lot of movement, and it's not just with panning, but with depth, and it's front, side, back. It's amazing. You have to go listen to this demo if you want to have a cool, fun, different plugin to add some real interesting and unique sort of movement. And there's a lot that you can do with it. So as I said, we put that in the show notes as well. So I am going to stop talking now, and I'm going to let you listen to this fantastic song that was co-mixed and co-produced by Jojo Worthington for the Lifers. And the name of the song is Wake from their Honey Sweet album. And all I have to say is when you're listening to this song, just wait for it. Well, wow. That's what I have to say about that. That was so freaking cool. Okay, so when I said wait for it, it was so fantastic at 2:54 where it just opened up with that bass, and that lo-fi sound kind of gets transformed, and there was almost this pushing of the bounds of overload, but it worked so fantastic, and it was so delicate and creative, and everything mixed together. I'm just in awe. The harmonies were beautiful and so unique, so unique. It was gritty and smooth at the same time, just wowzer. All right, so Jojo, that was fantastic. And you guys, the lifers, this was a fabulous, fabulous track, and the album is fabulous as well. So I have put links in the show notes. So please, everyone, go and say hi and like them, follow them, and just keep listening to this great music that they're putting out. Okay, they are from Canada, and Canadians are really cool. You know that? Anyway, all right, so here we go. We're going to move ahead here with song and lady number 4. So, lady number 4, gosh, that just happens to be me, yes. And if you don't know by now, my name is Darcy Jeavons, yes. And this song, actually, I had the greatest time. I mixed and mastered, edited this for my very good friend and super talented songwriter, Kim Yarson. The name of the song is called Where I Call Home. It's a soft pop song. Kim has written fabulous songs for film and TV. This was co-written by Kim and Anders Bay Jensen from Munich, Germany. Kim lives in East Windsor, New Jersey, and I love her to death. She is a fantastic songwriter. So she has numerous placements in TV and films, including Black Ink Crew and American Chaos documentary, Return to Amish, and so many more. I could go on about my friend Kim forever because she's just that sweet and that nice and that talented. But I guess I need to say a few things about me. So I'm going to do that. You guys might not know too much about me. So, I live in Huntington Beach. I graduated from Cal State Long Beach with a BA in music with an emphasis on music tech and vocals. I also got a minor in marketing while I was there. I went on to study at Berkeley to earn certifications in production mixing and using Logic Pro. And just this month, yay me, I finished my MBA, my grad degree with a focus, got a focus in music business. I teach music as well as lead worship, and I am so very, very fortunate to have established a clientele for mixing and audio editing for many, many talented artists. This has been word of mouth. I am just so joyous about that because that makes me feel like I must be doing something okay. I have a specific niche in vocal editing. I work with all genres, which I enjoy, but I would probably say if anybody asked me, I love working with a cappella vocals. This is a lot of fun, taking those vocals and making them sonically as big as anything that might have instrumentation. So this is a lot of fun and a huge challenge, and I've been doing it for a long time. I've also won a couple of awards with my own songs. I love to write and collaborate, definitely. I'm just so fortunate. My whole life is just revolves around music, so I'm very blessed. With regards to this song, I started off with the tracks. Anders created a lot of the synths, okay? And other instruments in this song were outsourced. For the vocal mic that Kim used, it was a Mike Townsend Lab Sphere L22 modeling system mic. Oh my gosh, this mic is so super cool. It's a dual capsule mic, and I put a link, of course, in the show notes to this because it is the coolest mic. And they used the setting for the LD47K model setting, which is based on the Telefunken U47. All right, this is a cool mic. It's a system. I don't even really want to go on about it too much, but yeah, you need to check out the link. This is just amazing. This was also recorded at her cousin's SBG studio in Robbinsville, New Jersey. That's Kim's cousin. So as far as my gear to mix this song with, I have Yamaha HS80M monitors and biodynamic custom studio headphones, which I love. My DAW is Logic. And this is what I like to refer to as a two-project. Okay, the reason why is I mixed all the instruments first, using minimal, actually, third-party plugins on the instrumentation. And the reason why is when I got these tracks, they sounded pretty cool. They didn't need too much editing. The synths sounded good. The guitar sounded good. I mean, other than EQ and compression, I got a great mix. For the drums, I mean, each of the drum tracks, they were live drums. So I had fun mixing all of those, getting a really good sound, and I sent the instrumental off to Kim so that she could go and record her vocals. So when I got the vocal tracks back from Kim, which this is something that I do a lot since I do a lot of vocal editing and a lot of vocal projects, I took that track that I gave her to record with, and I started a new project for the same song, only it's the vocal project version of Where I Call Home. So I had an instrument project and a vocal project. And I put that backing track in there and I started editing the vocals. Now, when it comes to vocals, especially when there are more than 20 tracks, I do this in a separate project, and especially if there's like more than 50 tracks of instrumentation, which there were 65 plus, I think, in this. So it was good. I don't want to overload my CPU. This works for me very, very well because when I'm editing vocals, and especially when there's a lot of them and a lot of background vocals, I don't want to overload my CPU. Not that it's ever really happened, but I know it can, so what the heck? I just try and head everything off at the pass before it starts, and this works really, really well for me because I use a ton of third-party plugins when it comes to my vocals or the artist's vocals. I use, like I said, many third-party plugins for vocals, including Melodyne Studio. I love Melodyne for tightening everything. RX Advanced, Nectar by Isotope Waves, JJP Vocals, Vitamin, or anything that brings that emotion to the surface. For this song, it is a poppy song. It needs a little bit more tight vocals with regards to making sure that they rhythmically are correct and that they also are tight in pitch. So I did that. I tightened everything up and I got rid of any sounds that might be in there. And I also used Space Designer Reverb for background vocals. I love using Space Designer, which is, of course, stock plugin in Logic. It's great for background vocals. It can add a place that you want them to be, so I like that. And I used all of these besides EQ and compression and bussing, like background tracks and harmony tracks and everything like that. I also created a couple extra harmonies using Melodyne that I was hearing and added them to fill out the mix, did doubling, of course, things like that. So this was a lot of fun for me to work on. And when it came to the mix bus, I wanted to get kind of a tape saturation sort of sound. Actually, I kind of wish I had that new magnetite I was talking about earlier from Black Rooster, just because I think that would have been fun to play with. But you don't really need any kind of tape saturation plugin you can use in Logic. You can use their new Vintage EQ, and using the drive knob, I added a tiny little bit of saturation and distortion with that to kind of glue everything together a little bit, and also use the compressor, setting the threshold like to 0 and the ratio 1:1, and then just use soft distortion. I didn't use the compressor as a compressor. Okay, it wasn't used to compress. It was used to add that little bit of distortion, that tiny bit of saturation. Sometimes you can use tape delay to do the same thing, just by turning off the feedback and the tempo sync and the delay time, and dry off and using it wet. And what you get from that tape delay in Logic is just the sound of the tape rather than any kind of delay. So that's another little ninja trick you can try if you want some tape sound on maybe your mix bus or whatever. So that's what I did. One thing that I love to do right now is I'm a mentor for Berklee College of Music. I'm with the Mentor Collective. I love having students that need inspiration, that need help, that need somebody to talk to, want advice on their mixes. So right now, one of my mentees is down in Honduras. I mean, this is crazy. She's just amazing, trying to bring the gift of music to all these kids. So I'm very, very fortunate to be a part of a program like that. And so that being said, I think that's about it. We are going to listen to this fabulous song that, as I said, I edited, mixed, and mastered, and it was written by Kim Yarson and Anders B. Jensen, performed by Kim Yarson, and the name of this wonderful feel-good song is called Where I Call Home.
There's a couch in the corner I could sink into, a cup of coffee, a book. I kick off my shoes, there's a creak in the floor where I step my foot down when all is gone quiet. It's a comforting sound when I feel alone and miles away. My heart knows the place where I feel safe. Each house lights the way, every neighbor is close. There's a smile as I come or as I go. That's where I call home. As I travel the highways, each city I pass, I see the lovers and the lonely, and pray time goes by fast. I flash back and feel the silk of my sheets, the only bed I can sleep in, only place I can dream. When I feel alone and miles away, my heart knows the place where I feel safe. Each house lights the way, every neighbor is close. There's a smile as I come or as I go. That's where I call home. Home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. The only place that I live. Home is where my heart is. When I feel alone and miles away, my heart knows the place where I feel safe. Each house lights the way, every neighbor is close. There's a smile as I come or as I go. That's where I call home.
Yeah, doesn't that song just kind of give you warm fuzzies all over? I love, love, love that song, Kim. You're a great writer. I had so much fun mixing that. It was just tasty sorts of synths to have fun with there, and what to figure out would paint the background and what wouldn't. And it's just, it was such a joy to mix that song. Kim also has her songs as part of the Marmoset Library. I put a link to Kim's stuff if you are looking for that song or any songs to be able to use in any sort of projects you may have. Go connect with her there. And I also even put a couple of links to things that I have been a part of in the show notes as well. I think that it is a great song to end our podcast with today. Yes, it is. I think it is that time. So I want to remind you, do not forget to get your free plug-in license from Black Rooster Audio. It's in the show notes, info@blackroosteraudio.com. Connect with Andre there. Also, do not forget to use your loudness penalty analyzer. The link to that free tool online is in the show notes as well. I want to thank you again for joining us. I hope this has inspired you ladies out there and anyone out there to get into your studio and create some fantastic sounding music. You can do it. You can do it. I'm telling you, it's so much fun, and you'll learn a lot. And I hope it's inspired you. These songs have been wonderful, and have a great 2019. You know, we're starting it off great with this podcast, and I know we'll be back soon. All right, take care.